Setting realistic expectations, time. I'm Karin with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Pegg Thomas, multi-award winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes.
And real quick, that is Cooper, and he's trying to get out. So please ignore him for just a minute. It's only going to take us 5 minutes here. Last week, we talked about managing expectations, the money side of things. Today, we want to talk about time, because if you want to succeed in publishing, you either have to invest money or time. What we talked about last time was money will help you get published and help you build an audience quickly. But sometimes, and realistically, it can cost you thousands of dollars to do that, because we didn't even talk about whether or not you're doing hybrid publishing. That's a whole nother conversation. But realistically, it could cost you thousands of dollars to do this, to do it well. If you don't have that money, that's fine. You're going to have to invest time. Now, Pegg, when you decided you wanted to start pursuing publishing, how long did it take you to get your first traditional publishing contract?
Well, I decided in 2009 that I was seriously going to make a run at it. And I signed my first contract in 2016. So 7 years. And that was a lot of learning. It was a lot of time. It was also money, though. I mean, I did go to writers' conferences. I put out the expense to do that type of thing. I took classes. I spent time learning the craft. I bought craft books. I did a lot of reading. I got involved with an online group at that time, christianwriters.com. I don't even think it exists anymore. Joined ACFW, American Christian Fiction Writers. And so I was feeling my way through. I spent a lot of time reviewing books for other people, because you can learn a lot doing that. In the beginning, a lot of time, a lot of reading, a lot of networking wherever I could, doing everything I could to learn. But yeah, 7 years.
7 years. It took me, I decided to pursue publishing in 2008, and I got my first contract with a small publisher in 2018. I did understand the value of editing. I couldn't afford an editor. Despite my best efforts, I was never able to find a critique partner or critique group. I know Pegg has an amazing critique group. I could never find one. I spent years trying to find some people. So instead, I actually did invest money and time to learn how to edit. So I had to learn how to edit my own manuscript. Decided I love it, so I do it now. But it took me learning how to edit so that I could then edit my own books. So you're looking at 7 to 10 years to get a traditional contract. But what about actually writing the book? So I still do traditional publishing through smaller houses. We're not going to talk about the last manuscript that was abnormal. But before I submit it to a publisher, again, I don't have a critique group, so I'm doing most of this on my own. It can take me a year to get it ready. I'm not a fast writer. I know there are writers who can write faster than me, so I will say I know I'm not a fast writer. Pegg, you're self-publishing.
I'm not a fast writer either. I'm a slow writer.
So from the time you sit down and you start planning out your manuscript to the time you're ready to publish it, how long does that take?
Well, that's really a good question, because I tend to have 2 or 3 things going in different stages at once. So to actually write the manuscript, I can write a manuscript in about 3.5 months.
But I'm talking about writing it and getting it into shape.
Yeah.
So that, and now you've been doing this for a long time too. So you have lots of experience, but how long does it take you from the time you start thinking about your book to the time you're ready to sell it to the world?
The whole process, probably about 9 months by the time, because I have to get time with my my editor to go through it. My critique partners need time to go through it. Time to get my cover made, my proofreader final, to the final one to read it, formatting it. It gets faster. Definitely gets faster as you go along, because you just start clicking, you know what all the steps are. And like I said, I do things kind of in layers. Even now I'm finishing up writing one book, but I'm researching the next one. So I don't work on just one book at a time. I only write one book at a time, but I'm doing research for the next one now. And then once I get this one written, I'm going to start writing the next one. I'll be researching the one after that. So
Let me
that's
ask
why
you a
I
quick
can put them out
question
a little
too.
faster.
Do you
Sure.
have a full-time job?
This is it. This is what I
And
do.
we
Yeah.
are out of time, but that's something I want to clue in there too is if you're working full time, do not expect that if this is your first couple of books, you're going to have it in shape to put out there in 9 months. She
No,
does this
no.
full time. And how many books do you have published now?
I have 6 traditionally published and 8 independently published. So
So
14.
you're talking about a lot of experience. So for these new authors who are with us here, please be realistic in your expectations. Don't expect that you're going to get that first contract with your first manuscript in a year. It could take 7 to 10.
Yeah.
And
And
don't
honestly,
think
that's normal. If you spend any time talking with authors, you'll find 7 to 10 is normal for getting your first book out.
so. I hope that has helped with setting realistic expectations. We keep going over. I'm going to try to rein that in the next time. But for right now, I'm Karin Berry with Right Now Editing.
And I'm Peg Thomas. We'll see you next time.